The foundations of China's political system are showing signs of strain as public dissatisfaction becomes increasingly visible across the country. Various forms of unrest are emerging, from isolated acts of protest to expressions of frustration online. Social tensions are rising, especially among workers facing unpaid wages, retirees struggling with low pensions, and even within certain parts of the government workforce. On May 25 in Changsha, a widely circulated video showed retired employees from state-owned enterprises and public institutions gathering outside the city's municipal government building. They called for equal treatment with civil servants, citing pension payments of just over 2,000 yuan per month, around 279 USD, as inadequate for basic living costs. A crowd of around 1,000 people gathered. An official appeared to speak through a loudspeaker and pledged to address their concerns, but the demonstrators remained skeptical and continued voicing their demands. That same day, another man voiced criticism of China's current leadership during a live stream, suggesting the need for reform and speculating about future political changes. When asked for more details, he replied cautiously, "I've said enough. Saying more would be risky. Just guess." His stream was cut off shortly after. Another young man discussing similar issues also saw his live stream abruptly end. Meanwhile, a historical poem by Huang Chao, a rebel figure from Chinese history, gained sudden popularity on social media. "On the 8th day of the 9th month, when my flower blooms, all other flowers will wither." Netizens have shared the verse widely, often in the context of labor disputes and local grievances. Under a video about a workers' protest, some users jokingly suggested forming groups in cities like Guangxi, Chongqing, and Wuhan. One remarked, "As usual, Nanchang takes the lead." A self-described former armed police officer commented, "I used to serve in the armed police. Anyone want to team up?" Another responded, "Just wait for the wind to rise." Commentator Tang Jingyuan noted, "The tighter the control and the harsher the suppression, the more the system starts to resemble a pressure cooker. When it reaches its limit, the backlash could be dramatic." While many of these online remarks may sound humorous or sarcastic, they hint at a deeper sense of frustration. In today's uncertain social climate in China, even a single unexpected incident could transform online chatter into something far more tangible. He Weidong's reported absence raises questions amid shifts in China's military circles. In recent weeks, unconfirmed reports have surfaced regarding the status of General He Weidong, vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. His apparent absence from major public events, including legal seminars, Army Day conferences, and ceremonial appearances, has drawn significant attention. According to several sources, he was reportedly last seen after the two sessions meetings and may have been under investigation. Speculation suggests he may have passed away on May 2nd at the 301 military hospital, though no official confirmation has been given. This follows earlier news that another senior official, He Hongjun, also passed away. Observers note that both cases appear to be part of a broader wave of changes within China's military and political leadership. Independent journalist Zhao Lanjian has raised concerns about opaque internal processes, citing past instances where officials disappeared from public view without explanation. International media, including The Washington Post and The Financial Times, have highlighted what they describe as a possible internal review or reshuffling effort. Some reports mention that over 1,300 individuals may be affected. Meanwhile, Professor Yuan Hongying commented that this reflects tensions within the leadership over future policy directions. He Weidong's name has recently been removed from several official websites, including the Ministry of Defense, adding to the speculation. At the same time, public attention has turned toward Zhang Yuxia, another senior military figure who in recent speeches has emphasized collective leadership and institutional stability. While official channels have remained silent, commentators suggest that these developments reflect a period of adjustment at the highest levels. Some observers believe this may signal an internal recalibration rather than a sudden shift. As of now, no authoritative statement has been made regarding He Weidong's status. The situation continues to evolve, and many are watching closely ahead of the upcoming fourth plenary session of the Central Committee, where key policy directions and leadership roles may be further clarified. 3 possible endgame scenarios for Xi Jinping. Independent commentators Zhang Feng and Tang Jingyuan both believe that Xi Jinping is undergoing a systematic retreat, with 3 potential outcomes as follows. Graceful withdrawal. The party elders are likely to allow Xi to retain nominal titles such as chairman of the Central Military Commission and president, while real power would shift to the Politburo Standing Committee. Li Qiang would manage the government, Zhang Yuxia would control the military, and Kai Chi would oversee the general office. This scenario carries the least risk, preserves Xi's dignity, and ensures his personal safety. Quiet house arrest. If Xi refuses to relinquish power, the system may cite health reasons to gradually remove him from public appearances, eventually placing him in a convalescent facility. Counterattack and confrontation. Should Xi attempt to strike back through propaganda or by rallying regional support, it could trigger an open confrontation and purge reminiscent of the Lin Biao incident. However, given that Xi has now lost control over the military and his political faction has crumbled, this outcome is highly unlikely. Tang Jingyuan emphasizes that the signs of Xi's disempowerment are unmistakable. The Xi family army has been completely dismantled, while Zhang Yuxia's faction remains untouched. Meanwhile, Hu Jintao's political legacy has resurfaced in party media, signaling a shift from one-man rule to a balanced power structure among competing factions. At present, Xi retains only his titular roles. His real authority has effectively vanished. The end game for the Chinese Communist Party. Disintegration is the only path. In the post-Xi era, no future leader may be able to reverse the deep structural decline facing the Communist Party, a system many observers believe is struggling with internal decay and accelerating instability. Xi Jinping's efforts to preserve the status quo are seen by critics as increasingly unsustainable, likened to trying to reverse the natural course of the Yangtze and Yellow Rivers. These attempts may only deepen public hardship and drive the country toward greater uncertainty. His political faction appears to be heading toward an inevitable downfall, drawing widespread criticism and serving as a potential lesson for future governance. From a historical and cultural perspective, some voices suggest that the party's legitimacy is facing its most serious test yet. They argue that resisting necessary change could lead to even faster unraveling, and that efforts to hold on to power at all costs may backfire. Discussions online and among commentators point to growing discontent and signs that a transformative shift may already be underway, one shaped by both historical momentum and public sentiment.
Chinese going bankrupt from stocks. Man left with only 336. Yuan from 600,000 yuan. The CCP recently encouraged people to enter the stock market. After a brief rise, the mainland stock market plummeted on October 9th. The next day, Hunan Party media reported that a local man had been speculating in stocks for 8 years, and only more than 300 yuan remained of the original 600,000 yuan. Netizens speculated that the wind direction was about to change. On October 10th, the official media of Zhuzhou City, Hunan Province, Zhuzhou Evening News, reported that a man named Wei had been speculating in stocks since the market opened in 2016. At first, he was able to earn more than 20,000 yuan a month at most. But the good times didn't last long. He continued to lose money and lost a total of 550,000 yuan from 2016 to 2021. He even sold a commercial house of more than 110 square meters at a low price of over 300,000 yuan and invested in the stock market, but the situation did not improve. Even during this year's National Day holiday, he was still losing money. The report said he had been speculating in stocks for 8 years. and only 336 yuan of the 600,000 yuan principal was left. He said, I invested all the money from selling my house and borrowed hundreds of thousands of yuan from the bank and almost lost all of it. This time, when the stock market rose, he invested all his assets of 15,600 yuan in cash, hoping to turn things around. Awei said that if you have never traded stocks, it's best not to enter the stock market. Trading stocks is not as simple as it seems, and it is very difficult to make money in the stock market. The report also said that in this stock market situation, most of the investors who open new accounts are young people, and those born in the 2000s and 1990s account for more than 70%. After the report was widely reprinted, it triggered heated discussions among netizens. The tone has changed again. It wasn't said like this during the National Day holiday. It wasn't even said like this in the morning. Yesterday, there was news that new stock investors made 30,000 in 3 days. Indeed, the tone has changed faster than the wind. The wind direction has shifted quite quickly, and now they're starting to persuade people to quit again? Some netizens criticized, before the holiday, a group of big Vs created momentum, and the leaks came in to take over, and they all withdrew. How many years have they been playing this routine? Big A is originally a gambling market, and only 1 in 10 people can make money. It's a different time now. You're tempted to buy at a high price and forced to sell at a low price. This is how leaks are harvested. Reminder, the next batch of leaks is not the country's concern. Mr. Wang from Hunan, who has been speculating in stocks for many years, told NTD that the CCP's stock market is a scam. Old stock investors like him have seen through the truth of the CCP's stock market and no longer believe in the CCP's lies. This time, they want to quickly get rid of the money trapped in the stock market. Most of those deceived this time are young people with no experience, and some even invested with loans. According to mainland media reports, many deceived young people took out loans from banks and invested in the stock market. Once the stock market collapses, it will bring huge pressure to the banking system. According to information circulating on the mainland internet, many young people are still investing in the stock market with the gambler's mentality of selling leaks from banks. After the stock market rose this time, some young people used consumer loans and small loans to invest in the stock market. Some young people even claimed, we solemnly warn capital not to sell us because our money is all from credit cards and online loans. If they dare to sell us, we dare not pay it back. Let's see who is the leak. Recently, Guangdong Heiyuan Rural Commercial Bank, Fujian Mingxi Rural Credit Union, Fujian Songxi Rural Credit Union, and many other banks have reminded their customers that they must not illegally invest credit funds in the stock market. On October 8th, the Central Bank of China also issued a message requiring commercial banks to strictly prohibit credit funds from entering the stock market. International hedge funds rushed to sell Chinese stocks. CCP's new measures are said to be ineffective. Chinese stocks fell across the board on Wednesday. Not only did major shareholders of Chinese companies and investment institutions compete to reduce their holdings and cash out, but international hedge funds also sold Chinese stocks in large quantities. 2 well-known American think tanks recently jointly released a research report pointing out that China's economy has deviated from the norms of a market economy, and the latest measures introduced by Beijing are unlikely to effectively boost China's economy. According to Bloomberg, traders at the U.S. financial company Goldman Sachs Group Inc. reported on October 10th that at the press conference on October 8th, the National Development and Reform Commission of the Communist Party of China failed to meet the market's expectations for more large-scale stimulus measures, which greatly disappointed the market. International hedge funds then sold a record number of Chinese stocks. According to Goldman Sachs's report, 3/4 of the Chinese stocks sold by international hedge funds this time were A shares, with the rest being Hong Kong-listed stocks. The report stated, hedge funds not only unwound long positions, but also increased short positions, and the number of long sales was twice the number of short sales. Bloomberg reported that the hot money sell-off was in stark contrast to the previously optimistic view of the Chinese stock market. Now, traders are waiting for the fiscal policy conference planned by the Beijing authorities this Saturday. On Wednesday, October 9th, when the Chinese stock market fell across the board, the U.S. economic research company Rhodium Group and the Atlantic Council jointly released a research report. After 4 years of research on the Chinese economy, the 2 well-known American think tanks made their findings public. The report, titled End of the Line: The Cost of Faltering Reforms, compares China's market system with that of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, countries based on 6 indicators: financial system development, market competition, modern innovation system, trade openness, direct investment openness, and securities investment openness. The conclusion is that China's economy has deviated from the economic norms of open markets. The report said that in almost every area it tracked, China's reforms have stagnated and, in some cases, even regressed. Among them, direct investment and securities investment openness have consistently been the areas where China has the largest gap with other developed economies. The report pointed out that in China, systematic state intervention and opaque decision-making dominate, which is one of the sources of global economic risks. At the same time, the role of the Communist Party of China in the economy has suppressed the vitality of private enterprises and created a dangerous and uncertain environment for investors. At the report release conference held on October 9th, Michelle Caruso Cabrera, CEO of MCC Global Enterprises, discussed a series of major stimulus measures announced by the Beijing authorities just last week, including lowering bank reserve ratios, cutting mortgage rates, and reducing down payment ratios for home purchases. She admitted that it would be difficult to effectively boost the Chinese economy with these measures alone. Cabrera said, "You can say we will reduce the reserve ratio and make capital more abundant and cheaper. But if the people who allocate it or the institutions that allocate it are not good at allocation, such as state-owned enterprises, whose equity and asset returns are poor, then it will not be very effective."